Hello, and welcome to another gentle, peaceful journey through history. This is Mindleapic, where we share calm stories to help you relax, feel safe, and slowly drift into deep, restful sleep. Tonight, we begin a long, quiet exploration of daily life among the working people in a great city during the Victorian-era in the 19th century. We will move very slowly, describing simple routines, the soft sounds of the day, the gentle patterns of meals, and the peaceful rhythm of ordinary existence. There is no hurry here. Everything unfolds at a calm, even pace, like a quiet river flowing without rush. Settle in now. Pull your covers up gently around you. Let your body find a comfortable place on the bed. Feel the softness beneath you, supporting you completely. You are warm. You are safe. The world outside can wait. Tonight, we travel back in time together, step by step, breathing slowly, listening softly. As you lie there, close your eyes if it feels right. Let your breathing become slow and steady. In and out, in and out. Each breath carries you a little deeper into relaxation. Where are you listening from tonight? What is the name of your country? What is the name of your city or town? There is no need to answer out loud. Just let the thought drift through your mind like a soft cloud. Then let it go. We are all here together in this quiet moment, no matter where we are. Now, imagine a large city in the middle of the 19th century. The year is around the 1850s or 1860s. The streets are cobblestone, worn smooth by many feet over many years. Gas lamps stand along the roads, their soft yellow light glowing in the evening. But during the day, natural light fills the air. We are not going to look at the grand houses or the busy markets right away. Instead, we will stay with the working people, those who lived simply, day after day, in modest rooms, often in tall buildings called tenements or lodging houses. These buildings were tall and narrow, built close together. The windows were small, letting in only a gentle amount of light. Inside one of these rooms, perhaps on the third or fourth floor, a family begins their day. The room is not large. Maybe it measures 12 feet by 10 feet, or a little more. There is a bed or two, shared by several people. A table stands in the center. A small fireplace or stove provides warmth when coal or wood can be afforded. The floor is wooden planks, sometimes covered with a thin rug that has seen better days. The morning light comes slowly through the window. It is gray at first, then a pale gold as the sun rises higher. No loud noises disturb the peace. Perhaps a distant cart rolls by on the street below, its wheels making a low, rhythmic sound against the stones. A bird sings softly somewhere nearby. The air smells faintly of coal smoke from many chimneys, mixed with the clean scent of early dew on rooftops. A woman rises first. She moves quietly so as not to wake the others too soon. She wears a simple dress of wool or cotton, patched in places but clean. Her hair is tied back neatly. She goes to the small stove and lights a fire with a few sticks and a bit of coal. The flames catch gently, crackling in a soothing way. She fills a kettle with water from a jug. The water was carried up from a pump or tap downstairs the day before. While the water heats, she slices bread. The bread is brown and dense, made from whole grain flour. It was bought from a baker the previous day, or perhaps baked at home if there was time. The loaf is heavy in her hands. She cuts thick slices with a steady knife. Each slice is even, careful not to waste any crumb. Bread is the foundation of the day. It fills the stomach gently and lasts through the hours. The water begins to steam. She adds a small amount of tea leaves to the pot. These leaves may have been used once or twice before, so the tea will be weak and pale. But it is warm, and that warmth is welcome. She lets it steep slowly. The aroma rises, soft and familiar, filling the small room with a sense of calm routine. Now the children begin to stir. There are perhaps 3 or 4, ages from 5 to 12. They sleep on mattresses filled with straw or old wool, covered with patched blankets. One by one they sit up, rubbing their eyes. Their clothes are simple: shirts and trousers for the boys, dresses for the girls, all mended many times. There is no rush to dress. They move slowly, folding blankets neatly, smoothing the thin sheets. Breakfast is simple and quiet. The mother pours the weak tea into chipped cups. A little milk, if there is any left from yesterday, is added. Sometimes a small spoonful of sugar, saved carefully. The bread is placed on the table. Perhaps there is a bit of dripping. Fat, saved from previous cooking, spread thinly on the slices, or maybe just the bread plain. Everyone takes small bites, chewing slowly. The tea is sipped in tiny amounts, letting the warmth spread through the body. They eat in silence mostly, or speak in low voices about the day ahead. The father may already be gone to work, or he joins them now, his hands rough from labor. He might be a factory worker, a porter, a builder's helper. His meal is the same, bread and tea. No one complains. This is the way of things. The food is plain, but it is enough to start the day. After the meal, the cups are rinsed with a little water and set aside to dry. The fire is banked low to save coal. The family prepares to leave the room. The children might go to school if there is one nearby, and fees can be paid. Or they help with small tasks, carrying water, sweeping the stairs shared with other families. The mother washes a few things in a basin, using soap sparingly. Everything is done carefully, without waste. The streets outside are waking up slowly. People walk to work, their footsteps soft on the stones. Carts pulled by horses carry goods: coal, vegetables, bread. The sounds are gentle: the clip-clop of hooves, the low call of a vendor, the rustle of leaves if a tree stands nearby. No one hurries loudly. Life moves at its own steady pace. Let us stay with this family a little longer. Perhaps we follow the mother as she goes to the market later in the morning. She carries a basket on her arm. The market is not far. A short walk through narrow lanes. Along the way, she passes other women, nodding quietly. Everyone knows the value of a friendly face. At the market, stalls line the sides. Vegetables are piled high: potatoes, cabbages, onions, carrots. These are the main foods for many meals. Potatoes are cheap and filling. A few pennies buy enough for several days. Cabbage leaves are green and fresh, good for soup. Onions add flavor without much cost. She chooses carefully. Perhaps 4 or 5 large potatoes, a small head of cabbage, a few onions. Sometimes a turnip or leek if the price is right. Meat is rare. Perhaps a small piece of cheap cut, like liver or scraps, once or twice a week. Fish might appear, herrings or sprats, smoked, or fresh from the river or sea. But most days it is vegetables and bread. She counts her coins precisely. Every farthing matters. The vendor weighs the items on a scale, adding them to the basket. The weight feels good, solid, reliable. She thanks the seller softly and walks home the same way, passing the same buildings, hearing the same gentle sounds. Back in the room, she prepares the midday meal. It might be a soup. Potatoes boiled with cabbage and onion in water, flavored with a little salt. The pot simmers slowly on the stove. The steam rises, carrying a mild, earthy smell. It is comforting, like the earth itself giving nourishment. The family eats when they can, some at noon, others later if work keeps them. They sit around the table or on stools. Spoons dip into bowls. The soup is warm, soothing. Bread is torn and dipped in. Chewing is slow. Conversation is quiet. About the weather, about small events of the day. Afternoon passes gently. Work continues for the adults. Sewing at home. Laundry for others. Piecework of many kinds. The children play quietly in the street or yard, running small errands. The light changes slowly across the room. Golden, then amber, then soft gray. As evening comes, the fire is lit again if needed. Another pot of tea is made. Bread again, perhaps with a little cheese if there is any, or dripping. The meal is the same as morning, simple and steady. They eat by candlelight or the glow of the fire. Shadows dance softly on the walls. Stories might be told in low voices, old family tales, or news from neighbors. Laughter is gentle, not loud. Then preparations for bed. Clothes are folded, faces washed in a basin. The children climb into bed, pulling blankets up. The mother tucks them in, her hands kind. The room grows quiet, only the soft crackle of the dying fire, the distant sound of a clock chiming somewhere, the gentle breathing of the family. Outside, the city settles too. Gas lamps flicker. Stars appear high above if the sky is clear. This is one day in a long line of days. Tomorrow will be much the same. Bread, tea, vegetables, quiet work, gentle rest. There is peace in the repetition. No sudden changes, just the slow turning of time, like seasons moving without hurry. Let us linger here a while longer. Feel the warmth of the blankets around you now. Your bed is soft. Your room is safe. Your breathing is slow. In and out. The historical world we visit is calm and steady. It teaches us about simple endurance, quiet routines, the gentle comfort of plain things. If you are enjoying this calm journey with Mindleapic, and if you feel yourself relaxing more deeply, you can like the video if you wish, or subscribe if it helps bring more peace to your nights. There is no hurry, only gentleness. Now breathe slowly. Let your mind drift. The story continues in the next part, picking up right where we leave off. More quiet days, more peaceful details. For now, rest. Sleep will come when it is ready. You are safe. You are calm. Good night. Continuing softly into deeper relaxation descriptions. The room is dark now, only a faint glow from embers. The mother's hands rest in her lap. She thinks of tomorrow. More bread to slice, more water to carry, more small tasks done with care. But these thoughts are not heavy. They are familiar, like old friends. She closes her eyes. Sleep comes slowly, wrapping around her like a soft shawl. The children dream simple dreams of green fields they have never seen, or warm bread fresh from an oven. Their breathing evens out. Slow, steady, deep. Outside, the city sleeps too. A watchman walks his round, his lantern swinging gently. The river flows quietly to the sea. Stars watch over everything unchanging. Time passes without notice. Hours blend together. The night is long and peaceful. No worries intrude, only quiet. And so the days continue, one after another, each one built on the last. Bread in the morning, soup at midday, tea in the evening, work done carefully, rest taken fully. Nature provides. Potatoes from the earth, cabbage from the fields, tea from distant lands carried by slow ships. We will explore more of these gentle patterns soon. The markets on different days, the small treats when pennies allow, a hot potato from a street vendor, or a piece of fruit. The changing seasons, autumn with its soft mists, winter with its quiet frost, spring with new green shoots, summer with longer light, all of it slow, all of it calm, all of it leading to rest. Let your body sink deeper now. Feel every part relaxing, your feet, your legs, your back, your arms, your neck, your face, heavy, comfortable, safe. The story is long. We have many parts ahead, but for this moment, simply be, breathe, drift. Now, as the night deepens and your breathing remains slow and even, we continue our gentle journey without hurry. The same quiet room from before still holds us. The embers in the small stove have faded to a soft red glow, giving just enough warmth to keep the chill of the night away. The family sleeps soundly. Their breaths rise and fall together, like a calm tide moving in and out. No dreams disturb them, only peaceful rest. Let your own body settle deeper into the mattress now. Feel how every muscle lets go, starting from the tops of your feet, moving slowly upward, your calves relaxing, your knees softening, your thighs heavy and still. Up through your hips, your lower back easing, your stomach rising and falling gently with each breath. Your chest opens softly, your shoulders drop away from your ears, your arms rest limp at your sides or across your body. Palms open, your neck lengthens, your jaw loosens, your forehead smooths, your eyelids feel heavy, so very heavy. You are safe here, completely supported. Nothing needs to be done, nothing at all. We return to the morning once more, because the days in this time were built on gentle repetition. Each sunrise brought the same soft light through the small window. The same quiet sounds drifted up from the street. Perhaps the low creak of a water, cart's wheels, the gentle tapping of a broom sweeping the pavement, the faint call of a milk seller making his rounds, with cans that clinked softly against each other. The mother wakes first again. She moves without haste. Her feet touch the cool wooden floorboards. She slips into her shoes quietly. She crosses the room in slow steps. The kettle is filled once more from the jug. The fire is coaxed back to life with a few small pieces of coal, or wood saved from yesterday. The flames appear gradually. First a tiny spark, then a steady glow, then a gentle warmth that spreads across the room like a warm blanket. She prepares the bread as before. The knife moves through the loaf in steady, even strokes. Each slice is thick enough to satisfy, thin enough to stretch. Sometimes the bread is a day or two old, so she holds it close to the fire for a moment, just long enough to warm the crust and make it a little softer. The smell of warmed bread fills the air. Simple, comforting, familiar. It is one of the kindest smells in the world. The tea is made the same way. A small pinch of leaves into the pot. Hot water poured slowly. The leaves settle at the bottom like quiet sediment in a stream. She lets it sit for several minutes, watching the color deepen ever so slightly. When she pours, the tea is pale amber, almost golden in the soft morning light. A drop or two of milk swirls in gentle clouds. No sugar today, perhaps. It was used yesterday and must be saved for another time. The children wake one by one. The youngest first, rubbing sleepy eyes with small fists. Then the older ones, stretching slowly under the blankets. They sit up without speaking much. Words are not needed in these early hours. Everyone understands the rhythm. They dress quietly, pulling on stockings, buttoning shirts, tying aprons or tucking in shirt tails. Clothes are brushed with a soft hand to remove any dust from yesterday. Everything is kept as neat as possible in such a small space. They gather around the table. The bread is placed in the center on a plain plate or cloth. The tea is poured carefully so not a drop is wasted. They eat slowly, small bites, slow chews. The bread is dense and holds its shape well. It fills the mouth with a mild, earthy taste. The tea warms from the inside, spreading comfort to fingers and toes. No one speaks loudly. Perhaps a soft word about the weather outside. Looks like a clear day today, or a gentle reminder to someone to eat slowly. After the meal, the table is cleared with the same care. Crumbs are gathered into a palm and saved. For the birds, if any appear at the window ledge, or simply brushed into the fire. Cups are rinsed with the last of the warm water from the kettle. They are set upside down on the shelf to dry in their own time. The fire is tended. More coal added if the day will be long and cold, or allowed to burn low if the weather is mild. Now the day begins to unfold outside. The mother might stay in the room for a time, doing small tasks that can be done at home. She mends a torn seam on a shirt, her needle moving in and out with a steady rhythm. The thread is coarse but strong. Each stitch is even, careful. She hums softly under her breath sometimes, an old tune passed down from her own mother, simple and repeating. The sound is barely audible, just enough to fill the quiet. Or she might prepare vegetables for later. She takes a potato from the basket. She peels it slowly with a small knife, letting the thin skin fall into a bowl to be used later for stock or fed to the fire. The potato is white and firm beneath. She cuts it into even pieces, placing them in a pot with cold water. The cabbage is washed leaf by leaf under a trickle of water from the jug. Each leaf is examined, any tired outer parts removed gently. The onion is peeled, its papery skin crackling softly. All of this is done without rush. The knife moves steadily. The water drips slowly. Time feels long and unhurried. If she goes out, she wraps a shawl around her shoulders. It is wool, faded but warm. She ties it in front with a simple knot. The basket is taken from its hook by the door. She steps out into the hallway, narrow, dim, smelling faintly of damp stone and coal smoke. The stairs are worn in the center from many footsteps. She descends carefully, one hand on the rail. The street outside is alive in a quiet way. People move along the pavements in both directions. Men in caps and heavy coats walk to their work. Women carry baskets or push small prams with babies wrapped warmly. Children run errands, fetching bread, carrying messages, helping with small loads. Horses pull carts at a steady walk, their hooves making a soft, regular sound on the stones. The air is cool in the morning, fresh after the night. She walks to the baker's shop first. The window displays loaves stacked neatly. The smell of fresh baking drifts out every time the door opens. She buys what she can afford. Perhaps a large loaf for the family, or 2 smaller ones. The baker wraps them in paper, tying the parcel with string. Coins are counted into his hand. A quiet thank you is exchanged. She places the bread carefully in the basket, covering it with a clean cloth to keep it warm. Next, perhaps the greengrocer. The stall is open to the street. Potatoes are heaped in piles, their skins still carrying a little earth. Carrots lie in bunches, their green tops bright against the brown roots. Cabbages sit like pale green globes. She selects carefully, feeling each one for firmness. A few pennies are handed over. The vegetables are added to the basket, their weight pleasant and grounding. Sometimes she stops at a small stall, selling cooked food for those who have no fire at home. A hot potato might be bought for a halfpenny. Baked slowly in an oven until the skin is crisp and the inside fluffy. The vendor splits it open and adds a tiny pinch of salt. She carries it wrapped in paper, the warmth seeping through to her hands. It is a small treat, eaten slowly on the way home, bite by bite, savoring the simple goodness. Back in the room, the midday meal is prepared. The pot is set on the stove. Water is added. The vegetables go in. Potato pieces first, then cabbage, then onion. A little salt is sprinkled, if there is any leftover dripping or a bone saved from another day. It is added for flavor. The pot simmers gently. Tiny bubbles rise and break on the surface. Steam curls upward in slow spirals. The smell is mild and comforting, earthy, warm, nourishing. While it cooks, she might sweep the floor. The broom is old, its bristles worn short, but it moves in steady arcs across the boards. Dust and small crumbs are gathered into a pile, then tipped into the fire. The room looks a little tidier, a little calmer. The family returns when they can. Some eat at different times. Father perhaps at noon if his work allows a short break. Children after lessons or tasks. They sit together when possible. Bowls are filled from the pot with a ladle. Steam rises from each portion. Bread is torn or sliced again. They eat slowly, spoons moving from bowl to mouth in an unhurried rhythm. The soup is plain but filling. It warms the body from within. Conversation is soft. Remarks about the day, about the taste of the meal, about nothing in particular. After the meal, bowls are rinsed. The pot is set aside to cool. Any leftovers are covered carefully for tomorrow. Nothing is thrown away. Everything has its use. The afternoon passes quietly. The light in the room changes slowly. Brighter at first, then softer as the sun moves across the sky. Shadows lengthen across the floorboards. Perhaps a neighbor knocks gently at the door to borrow a pinch of salt or share a small piece of news. Voices are kept low. Doors close softly. If there is sewing to be done, piecework brought home from a workshop. The mother sits by the window where the light is best. Her fingers move steadily. Needle in, needle out. Thread pulled through. The fabric is simple cotton or wool. Each seam is strong, each button sewn with care. The work is repetitive, calming. Hours can pass this way, with only the soft sound of the needle and the distant murmur of the city. As evening approaches, the fire is built up again. The kettle is filled. Tea is made once more. The same weak leaves, the same slow steeping. Bread appears again. Perhaps the last of the loaf, or a fresh one if bought today. A little dripping or cheese if there is any. The meal is eaten by the glow of the fire or a single candle. The flame flickers gently, casting warm light across faces. Stories might be shared in whispers. Tales of childhood, memories of summers past, small happenings from the day. Laughter is quiet, like a soft breeze. Then the day winds down. Children are washed with a cloth and basin, teeth cleaned with a rag and a bit of salt or soot if no better thing is available. Night clothes are put on, long shirts or simple shifts. Blankets are pulled up high. The candle is blown out. Darkness settles, soft and complete. Only the faint red of the fire remains. Breathing slows. Bodies relax. Sleep comes gradually, wrapping everyone in its gentle arms. Outside, the city quiets. Footsteps fade. Lamps are dimmed. The night holds everything in peace. And so another day ends, much like the one before. Tomorrow will bring the same gentle pattern. Light through the window, fire in the stove, bread on the table, soup in the pot. Quiet voices, slow movements, deep rest. Feel that same peace now in your own body. Your breathing is slow. Your mind is calm. The historical days we visit are steady and kind. They remind us that simple routines can be deeply comforting. Let yourself drift a little deeper. The story continues gently in the next part. More quiet mornings, more peaceful markets, more soft evenings. For now, simply rest. You are safe. You are warm. Sleep is close, waiting patiently. The quiet night has passed without disturbance. Your breathing remains slow, deep, and even. Each inhale brings fresh calm. Each exhale releases any lingering tension. Feel your body heavy now, sinking softly into the bed. The mattress cradles you. The pillows support your head perfectly. Your limbs feel warm, loose, still. Nothing moves. Nothing needs to move. You are exactly where you should be. Safe, comfortable, resting. We return once more to the same modest room in that Victorian-era city. The morning light arrives gradually, as it always does. First, a faint gray through the thin curtains. Then a pale silver. Then the softest gold as the sun climbs higher. The window glass is old, slightly wavy, catching the light in gentle ripples. Dust motes float lazily in the beams, moving so slowly they seem almost still. The mother stirs again. Her movements are the same as yesterday and the day before, measured, quiet, familiar. She sits up slowly on the edge of the bed. Her feet find the floorboards. They are cool but not cold. She pauses for a moment, letting her body wake fully. Then she stands. The floor creaks faintly under her weight, a small, soft sound that blends into the background. She crosses to the stove. The kettle is filled from the jug once more. The jug was refilled the evening before from the communal tap. Downstairs, water carried up, one bucket at a time, poured carefully so not a drop spills. She lights the fire with the same care. A match is struck against the box. The tiny flame appears. It touches the kindling. A small crackle begins, gentle and steady. The coal catches slowly. Warmth spreads outward in widening circles. While the water heats, she takes the bread from its cloth wrapping. Yesterday's loaf is still good, perhaps a little firmer, but that only makes it slice more neatly. The knife is old, its blade thin from years of sharpening. She holds the loaf against her apron. The knife moves in long, even strokes. Slice, slice, slice. Each piece falls onto the board with a soft thud. The crust is dark and crisp at the edges. The inside is dense, pale brown, full of small air pockets from the slow rising of the dough. She arranges the slices on the table. They overlap slightly, like roof tiles. Sometimes she toasts a few pieces by holding them close to the fire on a long fork. The heat browns the surface gently. Tiny wisps of steam rise. The smell is warm, nutty, comforting, like the promise of a simple meal. The tea follows the same ritual. Leaves into the pot. Hot water poured from the kettle in a thin stream. The pot is covered with a small knitted cozy to hold the heat. She waits. Minutes pass. The color deepens to a light amber. She stirs once, slowly, then pours. The tea swirls into each cup. Milk is added if any remains. A thin stream from a small jug. It clouds the liquid in soft patterns before dissolving. No sugar today. The taste is mild, slightly bitter but soothing. The children wake as the smell of tea and bread reaches them. One by one, they emerge from under the blankets. Eyes blink open slowly. Small yawns are covered with hands. They sit up, stretch arms overhead, fingers spreading wide. Blankets are folded with care. Not perfectly, but neatly enough. Pillows are plumped and set aside. Clothes are pulled on without fuss. Trousers tied with string at the waist. Shirts buttoned, stockings rolled up. They gather at the table in their usual places. No one rushes to sit first. They wait until everyone is there. The bread is passed hand to hand. Each person takes one or two slices. The tea is poured carefully, cup by cup. They blow gently across the surface to cool it. Small sips follow. The warmth travels down the throat, into the chest, spreading outward to arms and legs. Breakfast is eaten in near silence. Only the soft sounds of chewing, the clink of a cup against a saucer, the occasional rustle of clothing. Sometimes a child points out something small, a bird at the window, a ray of sunlight catching a dust mote, the way the tea leaves have settled in the bottom of the pot, like dark sediment at the bottom of a pond. These observations are made quietly, with gentle smiles. When the meal ends, the clearing begins. Crumbs are swept into a palm and tipped into the fire. They flare briefly, then disappear. Cups are rinsed with the last warm water. They are dried with a thin cloth, then placed back on the shelf in a neat row. The fire is banked with a small shovel of ash to keep it alive but low. Coal is precious. It must last. The mother prepares for her morning tasks. If there is laundry to do, she gathers the few soiled items, shirts, stockings, aprons. She fills the large basin with cold water from the jug. A small piece of soap is rubbed between her hands until a thin lather forms. The fabric is soaked, then rubbed gently against the washboard. The board is wooden, ridged from years of use. Up and down, up and down. The motion is steady, rhythmic, almost meditative. Suds form slowly. The water turns gray with dirt. She wrings each piece carefully, twisting with strong but patient hands. The water drips back into the basin in slow drops. Rinsing follows. Clean water is poured over the fabric. She swirls it gently, more rinsing until the water runs clear. Then wringing again. The clothes are hung on a line strung across the room near the window. Sunlight will dry them slowly during the day. If the weather is damp, they hang closer to the fire, turning occasionally so they dry evenly. The scent of wet wool and soap lingers in the air. Clean, simple, honest. If no laundry is needed, she might mend instead. A sock with a hole at the heel, a shirt with a frayed cuff. She threads a needle with coarse cotton. The thimble goes on her finger. She sits by the window where the light is clearest. Stitch by stitch the hole closes. The thread pulls through the fabric with a faint whispering sound. She knots the end securely, snips with small scissors. The repair is neat, almost invisible. Another small victory over wear and tear. Outside, the street carries on its gentle daily life. A water carrier passes with his barrel on wheels, calling softly to those who need filling. A chimney sweep brushes past, his brushes clinking together. Children play quiet games in the alley, hopscotch drawn with chalk on the stones, or a ball bounced against a wall in slow, measured throws. Their laughter is soft, not piercing. The mother might step out for a short walk to the local pump, or to buy a pennyworth of milk. She carries a small can with a lid. The milk seller dips a ladle into his churn. The milk pours thick and white. A little cream rises to the top. She pays her penny, thanks him quietly, and carries the can home, holding it level so nothing spills. Back in the room, the midday meal takes shape. The vegetables from yesterday are still good. Potatoes are boiled in their skins. When soft, the skins slip off easily. The flesh is mashed with a fork against the side of the pot. A little salt, perhaps a drop of milk if any is left. The cabbage is chopped and added to the pot with a little water. It steams gently, turning bright green. Onion slices are fried in a tiny bit of dripping until soft and sweet. All is combined into a simple hash or stew. The smell fills the room, earthy, warm, deeply satisfying. The pot simmers. Bubbles rise lazily to the surface and pop with faint sounds. Steam curls upward, fogging the window pane in soft patterns. She stirs occasionally with a wooden spoon. The spoon is worn smooth from years of use. It moves through the mixture in slow circles. When the family gathers, bowls are filled. Spoons dip in and out. The food is eaten slowly, savoring each mouthful. The potato is creamy, the cabbage tender. The onion adds a gentle sweetness. Bread is used to mop up any remaining liquid. No bite is wasted. Afterward, the bowls are washed in the basin. Hot water from the kettle helps loosen any stuck bits. Soap is used sparingly. Rinsing, drying, stacking, everything returns to its place. The afternoon light shifts. It grows softer, more golden. Shadows stretch across the floor. The clothes on the line dry gradually. The fabric stiffens a little as it dries, then softens again in the warmth of the room. Quiet tasks continue. A child might read from a worn schoolbook if lessons were assigned. The pages are yellowed, corners turned down. Words are sounded out slowly, or perhaps a bit of knitting. Scarf, stockings, mittens. Needles click together in a steady, soothing rhythm. Yarn unwinds from the ball in gentle loops. As evening nears, the fire is fed again. The kettle sings softly as it heats. Tea is prepared once more. Bread appears. Perhaps a small piece of cheese today, saved from a market bargain. It is sliced thinly, placed on the bread. The combination is simple but rich in taste. Salty, creamy, comforting. The meal is eaten by candlelight. The candle is set in a holder made from an old bottle. The flame burns steadily, giving a warm pool of light. Faces glow softly in its illumination. Conversation drifts. Small stories, gentle questions, quiet answers. Then the winding down. Faces washed, hair brushed, nightclothes donned, blankets arranged. The candle is snuffed. Darkness comes, soft and enveloping. Embers glow faintly. Breathing slows. Sleep arrives without effort. The pattern repeats, day after day. Bread, tea, vegetables, simple work, gentle rest. Each element fits perfectly into the next, like stones in a quiet stream. Feel that same steady rhythm now in your own body. Your breath moves in and out without effort. Your mind is calm, empty of hurry. The historical life we trace is patient, enduring, peaceful. Let yourself sink deeper still. The story flows onward. More soft mornings, more quiet evenings, more small comforts in plain surroundings. For now, rest completely. You are warm. You are safe. Sleep waits patiently, ready when you are. The night has been long and undisturbed. Your breathing continues its gentle rhythm. Slow inhalations, filling your lungs with calm air. Slow exhalations carrying away any trace of wakefulness. Feel how your body has grown even heavier now, melting softly into the layers beneath you. The bed holds you securely. Your head rests without effort. Your eyelids remain closed, heavy and relaxed. Every part of you is still, peaceful, safe. There is nowhere else to be, nothing to do, only this quiet moment stretching onward. We step back into the same small room in that distant Victorian city. The hour is early once more. The light outside is still soft, almost silvery, filtering through the thin window in pale streaks. The curtains stir faintly if a small breeze finds its way through a crack. The room feels the same as yesterday. Familiar walls, familiar shadows, familiar quiet. Time here moves without haste, repeating its patterns like a lullaby sung over many years. The mother opens her eyes slowly. She lies still for a few moments, listening to the soft breathing around her. The children sleep on, faces smooth in rest. Their small chests rise and fall in perfect time. She slips from under the blanket without a sound. Her feet touch the floor. The wood is cool against her soles, but she is used to it. She stands, stretches her back gently, arms lifting overhead for just a second before lowering again. No sudden movements, only calm. She moves to the stove. The kettle waits on the shelf, empty now. She lifts it, carries it to the jug, tilts the jug carefully. Water pours in a steady, quiet stream. Not too fast, not too slow, just enough. The kettle is set back over the firebox. She kneels, opens the small door. Inside, a few embers still glow from the night before. Tiny red points in the darkness. She adds a handful of kindling. Dry twigs gathered or bought cheaply. Then a small lump of coal, placed with care so it settles without rolling. A match is struck. The flame appears bright for a moment, then touches the kindling. A soft whoosh as it catches. Crackles follow, gentle and spaced apart, like distant rain on leaves. While the fire builds, she turns to the bread. The loaf from yesterday rests under its cloth. She uncovers it. The surface is slightly hardened, but that is normal. It will soften again with warmth. She places the whole loaf near the fire for a minute or two, turning it once so the heat reaches all sides evenly. The crust warms. A faint, toasty scent rises, blending with the coal smoke in a comforting way. She slices it then, long, deliberate cuts. The knife whispers through the bread. Crumbs fall onto the board in small piles. She brushes them together with her hand, saves them in a dish for later, perhaps to thicken a soup or feed to sparrows at the window. The children begin to wake as the smells reach them. First the youngest, stirring under the blanket, making small sleepy sounds. Then another, rolling onto their side, eyes fluttering open. They sit up gradually. No one speaks yet. The room is still wrapped in the hush of early morning. Blankets are folded one by one, corners tucked, edges smoothed. Pillows are shaken lightly, then set at the head of the beds. Clothes are taken from hooks or a small chest, shirts pulled over heads, trousers fastened, stockings rolled up carefully so no wrinkles form. Everything is done without rush. They move to the table as the kettle begins to sing. A low, steady hum that grows softer as the water reaches the boil. The mother lifts the kettle with a cloth to protect her hand. She pours the hot water into the teapot in a thin, controlled stream. The leaves inside swirl for a moment, then settle. She covers the pot, waits. The minutes pass in silence. Steam escapes from the spout in lazy curls. When she judges the time right, she stirs once with a spoon, then pours. The tea is the color of pale honey. She adds milk where there is any. A drop here, a drop there. The liquid lightens, clouds gently, then clears. The bread is brought to the table. Slices are distributed. Each person takes what they need. They eat slowly. Bites are small. Chews are thorough. The warmed bread has a slight crispness on the outside, softness within. It tastes of yeast and grain in the fire's gentle heat. The tea follows, sipped in tiny amounts, letting the warmth travel slowly through the body. It reaches the fingers first, then the arms, then the core. A quiet comfort. Breakfast ends as it always does. The table is cleared with the same care. Crumbs gathered. Cups rinsed in the basin with warm water from the kettle. Dried with the same thin cloth. Placed back in their spots. The fire is adjusted. More coal if the day promises cold, or simply allowed to burn low and steady. The mother turns to her morning work. Today, perhaps she has a small pile of mending waiting. She sits by the window. The light falls across her lap, bright but not glaring. She selects a pair of trousers with a tear at the knee. The fabric is worn thin there from many bends and steps. She threads her needle. Dark thread for dark cloth. The thimble slips onto her finger. She begins. In and out, in and out. The stitches are small, close together, strong. The needle makes a faint pricking sound as it pierces the material. The thread pulls through with a soft hiss. She works without hurry. Each stitch is placed thoughtfully. When the tear is closed, she ties a knot, snips the thread, smooths the fabric with her palm. The repair is neat. The trousers are whole again. Outside, the city breathes its morning life. A cart passes below, wheels rolling over cobblestones with a low rumble. Hooves clip-clop in even time. A woman calls softly from a doorway, offering hot rolls or muffins to those passing by. Children's voices drift up from the street. Quiet games, soft chatter. A dog barks once, then quiets. The sounds blend together into a gentle hum. Never sharp, never loud. If she needs more supplies, she prepares to go out. Shawl wrapped around her shoulders. Basket taken down. A small purse with coins counted carefully. Pennies, half-pennies, farthings in a cloth pouch. She descends the stairs slowly, hand on the rail. The hallway smells of damp plaster and faint cooking from other rooms. The street greets her with cool air and pale light. At the market, stalls are just opening. Wooden crates are unpacked. Potatoes tumble into piles, round, earthy, some still dusted with soil. Cabbages are stacked in neat rows. Onions hang in strings, their papery skins rustling. She walks slowly along the row, eyes the vegetables, touches one or two to test their firmness. A potato here, heavy in the hand. A cabbage there, leaves crisp. She bargains quietly if needed. A few words, a small smile. The vendor nods, weighs the items on brass scales, adds them to her basket. Coins change hands. A soft thank you is given. She might pass a stall selling fish. Herrings laid out on clean boards, silver scales catching the light, or sprats, small and bright-eyed. If pennies allow, she buys a few. Cheap, nourishing, good for a Friday meal when meat is avoided. They are wrapped in newspaper, the ink faintly staining the paper. She carries them home carefully. Back in the room, the fire has kept itself going. The kettle is refilled if needed. Vegetables are prepared. Potatoes scrubbed under a trickle of water. Skins left on for goodness. Cut into chunks. Cabbage stripped of outer leaves, chopped coarsely. Onion peeled, sliced into half moons. All go into the pot with water, a pinch of salt. The pot is set to simmer. The lid is placed on loosely, so steam can escape in gentle wisps. While it cooks, she might knit for a few minutes. Wool yarn in a neutral color, gray or brown. Needles move in steady rhythm. Knit one, purl one. The stitches form row by row. A sock grows slowly, or a scarf. The work is repetitive, soothing. The click of needles is soft, like distant rain. The midday meal is ready when the vegetables are tender. The pot is lifted with cloths. Steam rises in warm clouds. Bowls are filled. Spoons ready. The family eats when they return. Slowly, quietly. The potato is soft and floury. The cabbage mild. The onion adds depth without sharpness. Bread accompanies, torn and dipped. Afterward, washing up. Bowls rinsed. Pot scrubbed. Everything dried and put away. The room settles into afternoon quiet. Light shifts across the floor. Shadows move like slow clouds. Clothes on the line, if any were washed, are taken down when dry, folded, stacked, ready for tomorrow. Evening arrives without announcement. Fire tended, kettle on. Tea brewed. Bread sliced. Perhaps a little dripping spread thinly tonight. Or a scrap of cheese. The meal is eaten in the soft glow of the candle. Faces relaxed. Words few. Smiles gentle. Then bedtime. Washing. Changing. Blankets pulled high. Candle extinguished. Darkness falls kindly. Embers pulse faintly. Breathing deepens. Sleep comes like an old friend. The days continue this way. each one a quiet echo of the last. Bread in the morning, soup or stew at midday, tea and bread at night. Small tasks done with care, rest taken fully. Nature provides the same gifts. Potatoes from the ground, cabbage from the fields, water from the pump, fire from coal. Feel that gentle repetition now in your own mind. Your breath follows its own steady pattern. In, out, in, out. Your body is heavy, warm, still. The historical world we walk through is patient, kind, unchanging in its simplicity. Drift deeper if you wish. The story continues softly ahead. More quiet routines, more peaceful details, more calm moments in plain rooms. For now, let everything go. You are safe. You are resting. Sleep is near, gentle and waiting. The darkness of night lingers a little longer now, but your body knows it is time to rest even more deeply. Each breath you take is slower than the one before. Long, gentle inhalations that fill your chest with quiet peace. Long exhalations that let everything go without effort. Your feet feel heavy, rooted in warmth. Your legs are loose, sinking downward. Your hips settle fully into the softness beneath you. Your back releases any last trace of holding. Your shoulders drop away. Your arms lie still, palms open or resting however they wish. Your neck lengthens softly. Your face smooths. Forehead calm. Eyes closed gently. Jaw slack. You are held completely. Safe. Warm. Nothing disturbs this stillness. We return, as always, to the same quiet room in that Victorian-era city. The morning has not yet fully arrived. The sky outside is a deep indigo turning slowly to gray. The window pane holds a faint mist from the night's coolness. Inside, the air is still, carrying the lingering scent of yesterday's coal smoke and breadcrumbs. The embers in the stove glow faintly. Small, orange points that pulse like distant stars. They give just enough warmth to keep the chill at bay. The mother wakes in her own time. She does not hurry. She lies for a moment, eyes open to the dim ceiling, listening to the soft, even breathing of her family. The youngest child sighs once in sleep, a tiny sound that fades quickly. She smiles faintly, then moves. Blankets are lifted carefully. Feet find the floor. The boards creak once, softly, then silence returns. She stands, stretches her arms upward in a slow, gentle arc. Her spine lengthens. Shoulders roll back once, then down again. Calm restored. She crosses the room in measured steps. The kettle is taken from its place, carried to the water jug, tilted slowly. Water flows in a quiet stream, filling the kettle without splash. The jug is set down. The kettle returned to the stove. She kneels, opens the fire door. The embers greet her with a soft red light. She adds kindling, small, dry pieces saved carefully. Then a few lumps of coal, placed one by one so they nestle among the glowing bits. A match is struck against the box. The flame blooms briefly. It touches the kindling. A gentle crackle begins. Small pops and hisses that grow steadier. The coal catches. Warmth begins to spread. Slow circles of comfort reaching outward. She turns to the bread while the fire builds. The loaf waits under its cloth. She folds the cloth back. The bread has rested overnight. Its crust a little firmer. Its inside still soft. She brings it near the growing flames, holds it close for warmth, turning it every few moments. The heat touches the surface. The crust softens. A faint toasty aroma rises, mingling with the coal scent. It is one of the day's first small kindnesses. She slices then, knife in hand, steady and sure. Long strokes, even pieces. The bread falls away in neat slices. Crumbs scatter lightly. She gathers them with careful fingers, places them in a small bowl for later use. The children stir as the smells drift through the room. One opens their eyes, blinks slowly at the ceiling. Another rolls over, pulls the blanket higher for a moment, then sits up. No words yet, only the quiet sounds of waking. Soft yawns, small stretches, blankets rustling as they are folded, corners tucked, edges smoothed, pillows plumped, clothes reached for, shirts slipped on, buttons fastened one by one, trousers tied, stockings pulled up without hurry. They come to the table when the kettle begins its low song. The mother lifts it with a folded cloth, pours the boiling water into the teapot. The leaves inside dance for a second, then settle. Steam rises in thin spirals. She covers the pot, waits patiently. The minutes pass like slow clouds across the sky. She stirs once, pours. The tea is pale, warm, comforting. Milk added where possible. A thin thread from the jug. It swirls, clouds, blends. Cups are filled one by one, placed before each person. The bread is brought. Slices passed gently. Each takes what is needed. They eat slowly. Small bites, slow chews. The warmed bread has a gentle crispness at the edges, softness in the center. It tastes of simple grain, of fire, of care. The tea follows, sipped carefully, letting the warmth travel inward. It reaches the hands first, then the arms, then deeper still, a quiet spreading of comfort. When breakfast is finished, the clearing happens as it always does. Crumbs swept into palms, tipped into the fire where they flare briefly. Cups rinsed with the last warm water, dried with a soft cloth, returned to the shelf in their quiet row. The fire is watched, fed if needed, banked if the day will be milder, coal saved, warmth preserved. The mother begins her tasks. Perhaps today she has a bit of sewing, piecework, brought home from a nearby workshop. She sits by the window. The morning light grows stronger, falling across her lap in soft pools. Fabric is spread out, a length of cotton or wool, needle threaded. Thimble on, she begins. In, out, in, out. The needle moves steadily. The thread pulls through with a faint whisper. Stitches form in even rows. Seams close. Hems turned. Each motion is calm, deliberate. Hours can pass this way, with only the soft sound of the needle and the distant murmur of the street below. If no sewing waits, she might turn to the vegetables. A basket sits in the corner. Potatoes, a cabbage, onions, perhaps a turnip or two. She selects what is needed, carries them to the table. A small knife appears. Potatoes are scrubbed under a trickle of water from the jug. Skins left on or peeled thinly, depending on the day. Cut into even pieces. Cabbage leaves stripped away. Outer ones discarded if wilted. Inner ones chopped coarsely. Onions peeled. Papery skins crackling, falling away. Tears come sometimes from the sharp scent, but they are wiped away gently. All go into the pot. Cold water added. A pinch of salt. The pot placed on the stove. The fire beneath it steady. Simmering begins. Tiny bubbles rising, breaking softly on the surface. Steam curls upward in slow, lazy spirals. The smell builds gradually. Earthy potato, mild cabbage, sweet onion. It fills the room like a warm blanket. Comforting, familiar, nourishing without excess. While the pot works, she might pause to look out the window. The street moves in its gentle way. People walk to work. Caps pulled low, coats buttoned against the morning chill. A cart trundles past. Horse stepping slowly, driver holding the reins loosely. Children run small errands. carrying messages, fetching water, playing quiet games in doorways. A bird lands on the sill outside, pecks at a crumb left there, flies away again. Small moments, peaceful ones. The family returns when they can. Bowls are filled from the pot. Steam rises in gentle clouds. Spoons move slowly. The food is eaten without rush. Potato soft and comforting. Cabbage tender. Onion adding quiet depth. Bread torn, dipped, savored. Conversation stays soft. Words about the day, about the weather, about nothing urgent. After the meal, bowls are gathered, rinsed, washed with a little soap if needed, dried, stacked, the pot cooled, scraped clean, set aside. The room returns to order. Afternoon light changes, brighter at first, then golden, then softer amber. Shadows lengthen across the floorboards. A small breeze might stir the curtains. The air cools slightly. The fire is fed again if the day turns chilly. Embers glow brighter. Quiet work continues. A child might practice letters on a slate. Chalk scratching softly. Letters formed carefully. Or a bit of darning. Thread pulled through a sock heel. Or simply sitting, watching the light move. As evening draws near, the kettle is filled once more, set to heat, tea leaves added, steeped slowly, poured, bread sliced, perhaps a small treat tonight, a bit of treacle spread thinly, or a leftover scrap of cheese. The meal is simple, warm, sufficient, candle lit, flame steady, faces softened in its glow, words few, smiles gentle. Then the winding down, faces washed in the basin, hair brushed, night clothes slipped on, blankets arranged, tucked high, candle blown out, darkness settles, embers pulse, breathing deepens, sleep arrives softly, the pattern holds, day after day, morning light, fire built, bread warmed, tea poured, vegetables simmered, tasks done with care, meals shared quietly, rest taken fully, simple, steady, kind. Feel that same calm now in your own body. Your breath moves without thought, in and out, slow and even. Your mind drifts like a leaf on still water. The historical days we visit are patient. They teach quiet endurance, gentle routines, deep peace in plain things. Let yourself go deeper. The story continues ahead. More soft dawns, more quiet suppers, more moments of simple comfort. For now, rest. Completely. You are warm. You are safe. Sleep is gentle, waiting patiently. The night stretches long and soft around you now. Your breathing has found its deepest, slowest rhythm. Each inhale drawing in quiet calm. Each exhale releasing everything without a trace. Feel how your entire body has surrendered to the bed. Your toes curl slightly, then relax completely. Your calves loosen like warm silk. Your knees soften. Your thighs grow heavy, melting downward. Your hips settle fully. Your lower back eases into the mattress. Your upper back follows. Your shoulders drop away from your neck. Your arms rest weightless at your sides or across your chest. Your hands open gently. Your neck lengthens. Your jaw releases. Your tongue rests softly. Your forehead smooths. Your eyelids feel impossibly heavy, sealed in gentle darkness. You are held. You are warm. You are utterly safe. No thought needs to form. No movement is required. Only this peaceful stillness. We drift back once more into the familiar room in that Victorian city of the 19th century. The hour is still early. The sky beyond the window holds the last deep blue of night, slowly fading at the edges into pale gray. A thin layer of dew clings to the glass, catching the first faint light in tiny sparkles. Inside, the air is cool and still, scented faintly with yesterday's coal embers and the lingering trace of bread. The stove gives off a low, steady warmth from the banked fire. Embers, glowing quietly beneath a thin layer of ash, waiting patiently to be coaxed awake. The mother opens her eyes in her own gentle time. She remains lying still for several long moments. Her gaze rests on the ceiling beams, tracing their familiar lines without hurry. The soft, regular breathing of her sleeping children surrounds her like a lullaby. One child shifts once beneath the blanket, sighs deeply, then settles again. She listens to that sound. Small, trusting, peaceful. A quiet smile touches her lips. Then, slowly, she moves. Blankets are lifted with care. Feet slide to the floor. The boards greet her with their usual faint creak, soft as a whisper. She stands. Her back straightens gradually. Arms rise overhead in a slow stretch that reaches from fingertips to toes. Shoulders roll once, gently. Then everything returns to calm. She walks to the stove without haste. The kettle is lifted from its hook, carried to the water jug near the door. The jug is tilted with steady hands. Water pours in a quiet, unbroken stream. Clear, cool, steady. The kettle fills. The jug is set down carefully so it does not clink. The kettle is returned to the stovetop. She kneels before the fire door, opens it slowly. The embers greet her with their warm red glow. Small, steady pulses of light in the dimness. She reaches for the kindling basket, selects a few thin, dry sticks, places them over the embers in a loose crisscross. Then a small piece of coal, carefully positioned so it settles, without disturbing the glow. Another piece beside it. A third if the morning feels colder. She strikes a match against the box. The flame flares briefly, bright and golden. It touches the kindling. A soft crackle begins. Tiny pops, gentle hisses, then a steadier murmur as the fire takes hold. Warmth spreads outward in slow, widening rings, brushing against her hands, her face, the room itself. While the fire grows, she turns to the bread. The loaf rests beneath its clean cloth on the shelf. She folds the cloth back. The bread has rested through the night. Its crust slightly firmer, its crumb still tender beneath. She carries it to the hearth, holds the loaf near the flames, turning it every few moments so the heat reaches every side evenly. The crust warms, softens. A delicate, toasty fragrance rises. Yeast and grain warmed by fire, one of the simplest and kindest smells in the world. She brings the loaf back to the table, takes the old knife, holds it firmly, begins to slice. Long, even strokes that carry through without hurry. Each slice falls away cleanly. The inside reveals its pale, even texture. Crumbs tumble lightly onto the board. She gathers them with the side of her hand, sweeps them into a small dish. Nothing is wasted. Everything has its place. The children wake gradually as the scents weave through the room. The youngest first. Eyes fluttering open, small hands rubbing at sleep. A quiet yawn escapes. Then another child stirs, rolling onto their back, stretching arms above their head. Blankets are pushed down slowly. They sit up one by one. No rush, no noise. Blankets are folded with small, careful hands. Corners aligned as best they can. Edges smoothed. Pillows are shaken lightly, then placed neatly at the head of each bed. Clothes are reached for. Shirts pulled over tousled hair. Buttons fastened one by one with sleepy fingers. Trousers tied at the waist. Stockings rolled up without creases. They gather around the table as the kettle begins its gentle song. A low hum at first, then a soft bubbling, then the steady whistle that signals the boil. The mother lifts the kettle using a folded cloth to shield her palm. She pours the hot water into the teapot, in a thin, controlled stream. The leaves inside lift and swirl for a moment before sinking. Steam curls upward from the spout in delicate spirals. She places the lid on the pot, covers it with the small knitted cozy to hold the heat. She waits. The minutes drift by slowly. No clock ticks loudly. Only the fire's soft crackle and the distant sounds of the awakening city far below. When the tea has steeped long enough, she stirs once with a spoon. Slow circles that blend everything together. Then she pours. The liquid is pale amber, almost golden in the growing light. She adds milk where there is any left. A careful drop into each cup. The milk swirls in soft clouds, then dissolves gently. Cups are placed before each person. The bread slices are passed hand to hand. Each takes one or two. They eat slowly. Bites are measured. Chews are thorough. The warmed bread offers a slight crispness at the edges, a comforting softness within. The tea is sipped in tiny amounts, letting the warmth travel inward, spreading through the chest, down the arms, into the fingers and toes, a quiet, spreading comfort. Breakfast ends as it always does. Crumbs are collected carefully into palms, tipped into the open fire where they flare for a bright second before vanishing. Cups are carried to the basin, rinsed with the last of the warm water from the kettle. A thin lather of soap if needed. Rinsed again. Dried with the same worn cloth. Soft, faded, familiar. Cups return to their shelf in a neat row. The fire is tended. Another small piece of coal added if the day will be long and cool, or simply left to burn low and steady, conserving what little there is. The mother turns to the day's quiet work, perhaps mending again. A child's shirt with a small rip at the elbow. She sits close to the window where the light falls clearest. The morning sun now slants through the glass, warming the sill, painting pale gold across the floorboards. She threads her needle with steady fingers. The thimble slides onto her middle finger. The fabric is smoothed flat across her lap. She begins. Needle pierces. Thread follows. In, out, in, out. Small, even stitches close the tear gradually. The motion is repetitive, soothing, almost like breathing. The sound is faint. A soft pricking. A gentle pull of thread. She works without haste, each stitch placed with care. When the seam is closed, she ties a small knot, snips the thread cleanly, smooths the fabric with her palm. The shirt is whole again, ready for another day. If no mending calls today, she might prepare more vegetables instead. From the basket in the corner, she selects several potatoes. Firm, heavy, their skins still carrying a faint dusting of earth. A cabbage with crisp outer leaves. 2 onions. She carries them to the table. A small knife appears. Potatoes are scrubbed under a trickle of cold water from the jug. Some skins left on for nourishment. Others peeled thinly to remove any blemish. Cut into even chunks. Cabbage leaves stripped away one by one. Outer tired ones set aside. Inner fresh ones chopped coarsely. Onions peeled. The papery skins crackling as they fall away. The sharp scent rising briefly before fading. All ingredients placed into the pot. Cold water poured over them slowly. A small pinch of salt scattered across the surface. The pot is set on the stove. The fire beneath it steady and low. Simmering begins. Tiny bubbles form at the bottom. Rise slowly. Break on the surface with faint, peaceful sounds. Steam curls upward in gentle wisps, carrying the earthy, mild fragrance through the room. While the pot works, she might pause to listen to the street below. Footsteps on cobblestones, soft, unhurried. A cart rolling past, wheels turning steadily, horse hooves clipping in slow time. A woman calling quietly from a doorway, Fresh milk, hot rolls, small wares. Children's voices drift upward. Gentle laughter, soft calls in games of tag or hide and seek. A bird sings briefly from a nearby rooftop, then falls silent. Small sounds, familiar sounds, comforting in their constancy. The family returns in their own time. Bowls are filled from the simmering pot. Steam rises in warm, soft clouds. Spoons move slowly from bowl to mouth. The potato is tender, almost creamy. The cabbage mild and green. The onion sweetens everything without overpowering. Bread is torn into pieces, dipped into the broth, eaten slowly, savored quietly. Words are few. Soft remarks about the taste, the warmth, the day ahead. After the meal, the clearing begins. Bowls gathered, rinsed in the basin, washed gently, dried, stacked neatly. The pot cooled, scraped clean of every last bit. Set aside for tomorrow. The room returns to its calm order. Afternoon arrives without fanfare. The light shifts, brighter at midday, then golden, then softer amber as the sun lowers. Shadows stretch across the floorboards like slow-moving rivers. A faint breeze might stir the curtains, bringing the scent of coal smoke and distant river water. Quiet tasks continue. A child might trace letters on a small slate. Chalk scratching softly, forming careful shapes. Another might darn a stocking, needle, pulling thread through worn wool in steady rhythm. Or they simply sit, watching the changing light, listening to the city's gentle pulse. Evening draws near. The fire is fed once more. The kettle filled, set to heat. Tea leaves added, steeped slowly, poured into cups. Bread sliced thinly. Perhaps a small spoonful of dripping tonight, spread carefully across each slice. The meal is simple, warm, enough. Candle lit, flame steady and small. Faces softened in its glow. Gentle words exchanged. Then the quiet winding down. Faces washed, hair combed, night clothes slipped on. Blankets arranged, pulled high, tucked gently. Candle extinguished with a soft breath. Darkness settles like a warm shawl. Embers glow faintly. Breathing deepens. Sleep comes without effort. Day after day the pattern holds. Light arriving slowly. Fire kindled gently. Bread warmed. Tea poured. Vegetables simmered. Tasks completed with patience. Meals shared in quiet. Rest taken deeply. Simple things. Steady things. Kind things. Let that same gentle rhythm now fill your own body. Your breath continues. Slow, even, deep. Your mind floats freely, empty of hurry. The historical life we follow is patient, enduring, peaceful in its plainness. Drift deeper still. The story moves onward. More quiet mornings, more soft evenings, more small comforts in modest rooms. For now, simply be. You are warm. You are safe. Sleep waits close, gentle and patient. The night has wrapped itself around you completely now. Soft and deep. Your breathing flows without any effort at all. Each slow inhale bringing fresh stillness. Each long exhale, letting go of everything that is not needed. Feel how your body has become perfectly heavy, perfectly still. Your toes are warm and relaxed. Your feet sink into the bed. Your ankles loosen. Your calves feel like warm water settling. Your knees soften completely. Your thighs rest without any tension. Your hips melt downward. Your lower back releases every last bit of holding. Your upper back follows, spreading wide and calm. Your shoulders drop far away from your ears. Your arms lie loose and weightless. Your hands rest open, fingers gently curled or straight, however they wish. Your neck is long and easy. Your jaw hangs soft. Your tongue rests quietly. Your cheeks relax. Your forehead is smooth. Your eyes remain closed beneath heavy lids. You are floating in safety. You are cradled in warmth. Nothing can reach you here, only peace. We slip back into the same modest room in that 19th century city. The deepest part of the night has passed. The sky outside the small window is now the softest charcoal gray, hinting at the coming dawn. A thin film of condensation clings to the glass, blurring the view just a little. Inside, the air holds the faint, comforting memory of yesterday's fire and bread. The stove's embers remain alive beneath their blanket of ash, quiet red glows that breathe slowly, giving the room a gentle, steady warmth that asks for nothing in return. The mother wakes in her quiet way. She does not move at once. She stays beneath the blanket for several long, slow breaths. Her eyes open to the familiar shadows on the ceiling. She listens. The children sleep on, small chests rising and falling in perfect, even time. One child makes a tiny sound in dreams, a soft murmur that fades like mist. She lets the sound settle her heart. Then, gradually, she shifts. Blankets are eased aside. Feet find the floorboards. The wood is cool beneath her soles, but the contact is familiar, grounding. She stands without haste. Her spine straightens slowly. Arms lift overhead in a gentle stretch that travels from fingertips down through her body. Shoulders circle once, softly. Everything returns to calm. She walks across the room in measured steps. The kettle is taken from its place, carried to the water jug. The jug is lifted, tilted with care. Water flows in a steady, quiet stream, clear and cool. The kettle fills without a single drop lost. The jug is returned to its spot. The kettle placed back over the firebox. She kneels, opens the small door. Embers greet her with their warm, patient light. She selects kindling from the basket. Thin, dry pieces that catch easily. Places them over the glowing coals in a loose pattern. Then coal, small lumps laid gently, one beside another, so they settle without rolling. A match is struck. The flame appears, bright for a heartbeat. It touches the kindling. A soft crackle begins. Small pops, gentle hisses, then a steadier murmur as the fire awakens. Warmth grows slowly, reaching first her hands, then her face, then the far corners of the room in widening, comforting circles. While the fire strengthens, she turns to the bread. The loaf waits under its cloth on the shelf. She uncovers it slowly. The bread has rested overnight. Crust a touch firmer. Crumb still tender inside. She carries it to the hearth, holds it near the flames, turning it every few moments with steady hands. The heat touches the surface gently. The crust warms, softens. A delicate aroma of toasted grain rises, blending with the faint coal smoke in a way that feels like home. She brings the loaf back to the table, takes the worn knife, holds the bread steady against her apron, slices in long, even strokes. Each piece falls away cleanly. The inside shows its pale, even texture. Small air pockets from the slow rise of the dough. Crumbs scatter lightly. She gathers them with careful fingers, places them in a small bowl. Nothing is lost. Everything is kept. The children begin to wake as the scents drift through the still air. The youngest first, eyes opening slowly, blinking at the dim light. A small hand rubs at one eye. A quiet yawn escapes. Then another child stirs, rolling onto their side, stretching limbs beneath the blanket. They sit up gradually. No words are spoken yet. Blankets are folded with small, sleepy hands, corners brought together, edges smoothed as best they can. Pillows are plumped once, then set neatly. Clothes are reached for. Shirts pulled over heads, buttons fastened one at a time. Trousers tied. Stockings rolled up without rush. They move to the table as the kettle begins its low, gentle song. The hum grows slowly, soft, bubbling. Then the steady rise to a quiet whistle. The mother lifts the kettle with the folded cloth, pours the hot water into the teapot in a thin, careful stream. Leaves inside lift and settle. Steam rises in delicate curls from the spout. She covers the pot, places the cozy over it. Waits. The minutes pass like slow breaths. No hurry. No sound but the fire's soft crackle and the distant, faint stirrings of the city waking far below. When the time feels right, she stirs once. Slow circles with the spoon, then pours. The tea is pale, warm amber in the cups. Milk added where any remains. A thin thread that swirls, clouds gently, then blends. Cups placed before each person. Bread slices passed hand to hand. Each takes what they need. They eat slowly. Bites small and deliberate. Chews thorough and calm. The warmed bread has a slight crispness at the crust. Softness within. It tastes of grain, of fire, of quiet care. The tea is sipped in tiny amounts. Warmth traveling inward, spreading through the body like sunlight through leaves. Hands warm, arms relax, core softens. Breakfast ends gently. Crumbs collected into palms, tipped into the fire where they spark briefly, then vanish. Cups carried to the basin, rinsed with the last warm water. A touch of soap if needed. Rinsed again, dried with the soft cloth, returned to the shelf in their usual places. The fire is watched. Another small piece of coal added if the morning holds chill, or simply allowed to settle into a steady, low burn. The mother begins the day's quiet tasks. Perhaps a bit of darning today. A stocking with a thin place at the heel. She sits by the window. The light has grown stronger now. Pale gold slanting across the sill, warming the wooden floor in slow patches. She threads the needle with wool the color of the stocking. The thimble goes on. The fabric is stretched across her fingers. She begins, needle in. Thread pulled through. Small, close stitches weave across the weak spot. The motion repeats. Up, down, up, down. The sound is faint, almost inaudible. A soft pricking, a gentle tug. She works without haste, each stitch placed thoughtfully. When the heel is strengthened, she ties a knot, snips the thread, smooths the wool with her palm. The stocking is whole again, ready for another day's wear. If no darning is needed, she turns to the vegetables. From the basket, she chooses potatoes. Several, heavy and firm. A small cabbage. An onion or two. She carries them to the table, scrubs the potatoes under a trickle of water, cuts them into even pieces, strips cabbage leaves, chops them coarsely, peels the onion, papery skin falling away, scent rising briefly, all placed into the pot, water poured over slowly, salt pinched in, the pot set on the stove, the fire beneath it low and steady. Simmering begins. Bubbles forming one by one, rising, breaking with faint, peaceful sounds. Steam curls upward, carrying the mild, earthy fragrance that fills the room gradually, layer by layer. While the pot simmers, she might pause to look out. The street below moves in its familiar rhythm. Footsteps on stones, a cart rolling slowly. A child calling softly to another, a bird flitting past the window. Small moments, gentle sounds, everything unhurried. The family gathers when they can, bowls filled, steam rising, spoons dipping slowly, potatoes soft and comforting, cabbage tender, onion adding gentle sweetness, bread torn, dipped, eaten without rush, words soft, smiles quiet. Clearing follows, bowls rinsed, pot cleaned, everything returned to its place. The room settles into afternoon calm. Light shifts, golden now, then amber. Shadows lengthen slowly. Quiet continues. A child might draw simple shapes on a scrap of paper with a charred stick. Another might fold clothes neatly, or they sit, listening to the fire, watching the light change. Evening arrives softly. Fire tended. Kettle heated. Tea brewed. Bread sliced. Perhaps a little dripping tonight. Spread thinly. Meal eaten by candlelight. Faces warm in the glow. Conversation gentle. Then bedtime. Washing. Changing. Blankets high. Candle out. Darkness kind. Embers faint. Breathing deep. Sleep arrives. The days remain the same. Light. Fire. Bread. Tea. Vegetables. Care. Rest. Simple. Steady. Peaceful. Feel that rhythm now. Your breath slow. Even deep. Your body heavy. Your mind calm. The historical world we visit is patient. It holds quiet comfort in plain routines. Drift deeper. The story continues. More gentle dawns. More soft suppers. More moments of simple warmth. For now, rest. You are safe. You are warm. Sleep is near, gentle and waiting. The night continues to hold you gently, deep and undisturbed. Your breathing has become its own quiet lullaby. Each slow, full inhale, drawing in layers of calm. Each long, easy exhale, carrying away the last whispers of wakefulness. Feel how every part of you has found perfect rest. Your toes are warm, loose, forgotten. Your feet heavy against the sheets. Your ankles relaxed. Your calves soft as down. Your knees open and still. Your thighs sink deeply. Your hips rest without any effort. Your lower back flattens completely into the mattress. Your upper back spreads wide and calm. Your shoulders fall far away. Your arms lie motionless, weightless. Your hands rest open, fingers soft. Your neck is long, easy. Your jaw hangs gently. Your cheeks smooth. Your forehead clear. Your eyes sealed beneath heavy, peaceful lids. You float in complete safety. Warmth surrounds you like a soft cloud. Nothing stirs. Nothing needs to stir. Only this endless, gentle stillness. We return once more to the same small room in that Victorian-era city. The hour is early again. The sky outside the window now a deep, velvety gray, edged with the faintest silver of approaching dawn. A light mist has settled on the glass overnight, turning the view into soft, blurred shapes. Inside, the air is cool and quiet, carrying the faint, familiar trace of coal embers and yesterday's bread. The stove's fire has slept beneath its covering of ash. Small red, embers still glowing patiently, breathing slow and steady, ready to be brought back to gentle life. The mother wakes without hurry. She remains beneath the blanket for several long moments. Her eyes open slowly to the familiar dimness. She listens to the soft, even breathing around her. The children still deep in sleep, their small forms rising and falling in perfect rhythm. One child sighs once, a tiny, trusting sound that melts into silence. She lets that sound settle inside her. Then, gradually, she moves. Blankets eased aside with care, feet placed on the floorboards. The wood is cool beneath her soles, but the touch is known, comforting. She stands. Her back straightens in a slow, natural line. Arms rise overhead in a gentle stretch that flows from fingertips, through her shoulders, down her spine. Shoulders roll once, softly. Then calm returns. She crosses the room in quiet steps. The kettle is lifted from its hook, carried to the water jug near the door. The jug tilted slowly. Water pours in a steady, clear stream, filling without splash, without waste. The kettle is returned to the stove. She kneels before the fire door, opens it gently. Embers glow back at her. Small, steady pulses of red in the darkness. She selects kindling, thin, dry twigs from the basket, arranges them loosely over the embers. Then coal, small lumps placed one by one, nestling carefully among the glowing bits. A match struck against the box. The flame blooms briefly, golden and bright. It touches the kindling. A soft crackle begins. Tiny pops, gentle hisses, then a steadier, soothing murmur as the fire takes hold. Warmth spreads outward slowly, first warming her hands, then her face, then drifting across the room in patient, widening circles. While the fire grows, she turns to the bread. The loaf waits beneath its clean cloth on the shelf. She folds the cloth back carefully. The bread has rested through the night. Its crust slightly firmer now, the inside still soft and yielding. She carries it to the hearth, holds the loaf close to the flames, turning it every few moments with steady hands. The heat brushes the surface gently. The crust warms, softens. A delicate, toasty fragrance rises, grain and yeast warmed by fire, simple and deeply comforting. She brings the loaf back to the table, takes the old knife, holds the bread steady, slices in long, even strokes. Each piece separates cleanly. The crumb shows its pale, even texture, small pockets of air from the slow rise. Crumbs fall lightly onto the board. She gathers them with careful fingers, places them in a small dish. Every crumb saved, every bit valued. The children wake gradually as the gentle scents fill the room. The youngest first, eyes fluttering open, small hands reaching to rub sleep away. A quiet yawn escapes, soft and slow. Then another child stirs, rolling onto their back, stretching arms above their head beneath the blanket. They sit up one by one. No rush, no sound but the fire's crackle and the kettle's low hum. Blankets folded with small hands, corners brought together, edges smoothed. Pillows plumped lightly, then placed neatly. Clothes reached for, shirts slipped on, buttons fastened one by one, trousers tied, stockings rolled up without haste. They gather at the table as the kettle begins its soft song. A low murmur at first, then bubbling, then the gentle rise to a quiet whistle. The mother lifts the kettle with the folded cloth, pours the hot water into the teapot in a thin, careful stream. Leaves inside swirl briefly, then settle. Steam curls upward in delicate spirals. She covers the pot, places the cozy over it to hold the warmth, waits patiently. The minutes drift by like slow clouds. No clock demands attention. Only the fire's soft sounds and the distant, faint stirrings of the city below. When the tea has steeped, she stirs once. Slow circles blending everything. Then pours. The tea is pale amber, warm in the cups. Milk added where any is left. A careful drop that swirls, clouds softly, then blends. Cups placed before each person. Bread slices passed gently hand to hand. Each takes what they need. They eat slowly, bites measured. Chews calm and thorough. The warmed bread offers a slight crispness at the edges, softness within. It tastes of simple grain, of fire, of care. The tea sipped in tiny amounts, warmth traveling inward, spreading through the chest, down the arms, into fingers and toes, a quiet, spreading comfort. Breakfast ends as always. Crumbs swept into palms, tipped into the fire where they flare briefly, then disappear. Cups carried to the basin, rinsed with the last warm water, dried with the soft cloth, returned to the shelf in their quiet row. The fire tended. Another small piece of coal, if needed, or left to burn low and steady. The mother begins her morning work, perhaps knitting today, a length of gray wool for a scarf or stockings. She sits by the window where the light grows stronger, pale gold now, slanting across the sill, warming the floorboards in slow patches, needles in hand, yarn looped around her fingers. She begins. Knit one, purl one. The stitches form row by row. The needles click together in a soft, steady rhythm, almost like breathing. The yarn unwinds from the ball in gentle loops. The work grows slowly, calmly. Hours can pass this way, with only the faint click of needles and the distant murmur of the street. If knitting is not the task, she might prepare the vegetables. Potatoes selected from the basket. Firm, heavy. Cabbage leaves stripped and chopped. Onions peeled. The papery skins crackling softly. All placed into the pot. Water poured slowly. Salt pinched in. The pot set on the stove. Simmering begins. Bubbles rising one by one. Breaking with faint, peaceful sounds. Steam curls upward, carrying the mild, earthy scent that fills the room layer by layer. While the pot works, she might pause to listen. The street below moves gently. Footsteps on cobblestones, a cart rolling slowly, children calling softly to one another. A bird sings briefly from a rooftop. Small sounds, familiar sounds, comforting. The family gathers when they can. Bowls filled, steam rising in warm clouds, spoons dipping slowly, food eaten without rush. Potato soft, cabbage tender, onion gentle. Bread torn and dipped, words few, smiles quiet. Clearing follows, bowls rinsed, pot cleaned. Everything returned to its place. Afternoon light shifts. Golden, then amber. Shadows lengthen slowly across the floor. Quiet tasks continue. A child might practice simple sums on a slate, chalk scratching softly. Another might fold linens neatly, or they sit, watching the light change, listening to the fire. Evening arrives without announcement. Fire fed, kettle heated, tea brewed, bread sliced, perhaps a small piece of cheese tonight, sliced thinly. Meal eaten by candlelight, faces softened, conversation gentle. Then bedtime, washing, changing, blankets high, candle out, darkness kind, embers faint, breathing deep. Sleep comes softly. The pattern holds, light arriving, fire kindled, bread warmed, tea poured, vegetables simmered. Tasks done with patience, rest taken deeply. Simple, steady, peaceful. Feel that same calm rhythm now. Your breath slow, even, deep. Your body heavy, warm, still. Your mind drifts freely. The historical days we trace are patient. They carry quiet comfort in every small repetition. Let yourself sink deeper. The story continues ahead. More gentle mornings, more soft evenings, more moments of simple warmth. For now, rest completely. You are safe. You are warm. Sleep is gentle, waiting patiently. The night remains vast and tender around you. Your breathing has settled into its slowest, most natural flow. Each inhale a gentle wave of calm entering your body. Each exhale a soft release that carries nothing with it. Feel how completely your body has given itself to rest. Your toes are warm, distant, perfectly still. Your feet heavy against the mattress. Your ankles loose and open. Your calves soft, without any trace of tension. Your knees relaxed, slightly apart. Your thighs sink deeply, melting downward. Your hips rest fully supported. Your lower back flattens into the softness beneath you. Your upper back spreads wide and calm. Your shoulders drop far away from your neck. Your arms lie motionless, weightless at your sides or across your body. Your hands rest open, fingers gently curved or straight. Your neck is long, easy. Your jaw hangs soft. Your tongue rests quietly in your mouth. Your cheeks smooth. Your forehead clear and still. Your eyes remain closed beneath heavy, peaceful lids. You are wrapped in safety. Warmth holds you like a quiet embrace. Nothing moves. Nothing needs to move. Only this deep, endless peace. We return gently to the same modest room in that 19th century city. The hour is early once more. The sky beyond the small window has softened from black to the deepest charcoal, with the faintest silver line at the horizon promising dawn. A light dew clings to the glass, turning the outside world into gentle, blurred shapes. Inside, the air is still and cool, scented faintly with the memory of yesterday's coal and the last traces of bread. The stove's embers continue their quiet vigil. Small, red glows beneath a thin veil of ash, breathing slowly, steadily, giving the room a patient warmth that asks for nothing. The mother wakes in her own calm time. She lies still for several long moments beneath the blanket. Her eyes open slowly to the familiar dim ceiling. She listens to the soft, even breathing of her sleeping children. Small chests rising and falling in perfect, unhurried rhythm. One child shifts once in sleep, a tiny sigh escaping like a leaf falling in still air. She lets the sound settle inside her. Then, gradually, she moves, blankets lifted with care, feet placed on the floorboards. The wood greets her with its usual cool touch, familiar and grounding. She stands without haste. Her spine straightens in a slow, natural line. Arms rise overhead in a gentle stretch that flows from fingertips, through her shoulders, down her back. Shoulders roll once, softly. Then everything returns to quiet. She walks across the room in measured steps. The kettle is taken from its hook, carried to the water jug. The jug tilted carefully. Water pours in a steady, clear stream, filling without splash, without hurry. The kettle is returned to the stovetop. She kneels before the fire door, opens it gently. Embers glow back. Small, steady pulses of red light in the dimness. She selects kindling from the basket. Thin, dry pieces that catch easily. Arranges them loosely over the glowing coals. Then coal, small lumps placed one by one, nestling carefully so they settle without rolling. A match is struck against the box. The flame blooms briefly, golden and bright. It touches the kindling. A soft crackle begins. Tiny pops, gentle hisses, then a steadier murmur as the fire awakens. Warmth spreads outward slowly, first to her hands, then her face, then drifting across the room in patient, comforting circles. While the fire builds, she turns to the bread. The loaf rests beneath its clean cloth on the shelf. She folds the cloth back slowly. The bread has rested overnight. Crust a little firmer now. Crumb still tender beneath. She carries it to the hearth, holds it near the flames, turning it every few moments with steady hands. The heat brushes the surface gently. The crust warms, softens. A delicate fragrance of toasted grain rises. Simple, warm, deeply familiar. She brings the loaf back to the table, takes the worn knife, holds the bread steady against her apron, slices in long, even strokes. Each piece falls away cleanly. The inside reveals its pale texture, small air pockets from the slow rise of dough. Crumbs scatter lightly. She gathers them with careful fingers, places them in a small dish. Nothing is wasted. Every bit is kept. The children wake as the gentle scents weave through the room. The youngest first. Eyes opening slowly, small hands rubbing sleep away. A quiet yawn escapes, soft and slow. Another child stirs, rolling onto their side, stretching limbs beneath the blanket. They sit up gradually. No rush, no words yet. Blankets folded with small hands. Corners aligned, edges smoothed. Pillows plumped lightly, then placed neatly. Clothes reached for. Shirts slipped on. Buttons fastened one by one. Trousers tied. Stockings rolled up without haste. They gather at the table as the kettle begins its low, gentle song. A soft hum at first, then bubbling, then the steady rise to a quiet whistle. The mother lifts the kettle with the folded cloth, pours the hot water into the teapot in a thin, controlled stream. Leaves inside lift and settle. Steam curls upward in delicate spirals. She covers the pot, places the cozy over it. Waits. The minutes pass like slow breaths. No hurry. Only the fire's soft crackle and the distant, faint sounds of the city stirring below. When the tea has steeped, she stirs once. Slow circles with the spoon, then pours. The tea is pale amber, warm in the cups. Milk added where any remains. A careful drop that swirls, clouds gently, then blends. Cups placed before each person. Bread slices passed hand to hand. Each takes what they need. They eat slowly, bites small, chews calm. The warmed bread has a slight crispness at the edges, softness within. It tastes of grain, of fire, of quiet care. The tea sipped in tiny amounts, warmth spreading inward, through the chest, down the arms, into fingers and toes, a quiet comfort. Breakfast ends gently. Crumbs collected into palms, tipped into the fire where they flare briefly, then vanish. Cups carried to the basin, rinsed with the last warm water, dried with the soft cloth, returned to the shelf in their quiet row. The fire tended. Another small piece of coal if the morning holds chill, or left to burn low and steady. The mother begins the day's quiet work, perhaps sewing piecework today, a length of cotton to hem or seams to close. She sits by the window where the light grows, pale gold slanting across the sill, warming the floorboards slowly, needle threaded, thimble on, fabric smoothed across her lap. She begins, needle pierces, thread follows. In, out, in, out. Small, even stitches form. The motion repeats, up, down, up, down. The sound is faint, a soft pricking, a gentle pull. She works without haste, each stitch placed thoughtfully. When the seam is finished, she ties a knot, snips the thread, smooths the fabric with her palm. The work is neat, ready. If no sewing waits, she prepares the vegetables. Potatoes chosen, firm, heavy. Cabbage leaves stripped and chopped. Onions peeled, papery skins falling away. All into the pot. Water poured slowly. Salt pinched in. The pot set on the stove. Simmering begins. Bubbles rising one by one, breaking with faint, peaceful sounds. Steam curls upward, carrying the mild, earthy scent that fills the room gradually. While the pot simmers, she might pause to look out. The street below moves gently. Footsteps on stones. A cart rolling slowly. Children calling softly. A bird flits past the window. Small moments, gentle sounds, comforting. The family gathers when they can. Bowls filled. Steam rising. Spoons dipping slowly. Food eaten without rush. Potato soft, cabbage tender, onion gentle. Bread torn, dipped, words soft, smiles quiet. Clearing follows, bowls rinsed, pot cleaned. Everything returned to its place. Afternoon light shifts. Golden, then amber. Shadows lengthen slowly across the floorboards. Quiet continues. A child might practice letters on a slate, chalk scratching softly. Another might knit a few rows, or they sit, watching the light change, listening to the fire. Evening arrives softly. Fire fed, kettle heated, tea brewed, bread sliced, perhaps a little treacle tonight, spread thinly on the bread. Meal eaten by candlelight, faces softened in the glow. Conversation gentle. Then bedtime. Washing, changing, blankets high. Candle out, darkness kind. Embers faint, breathing deep. Sleep comes without effort. The pattern remains. Light arriving slowly. Fire kindled gently. Bread warmed. Tea poured. Vegetables simmered. Tasks done with care. Rest taken fully. Simple, steady, kind. Feel that gentle rhythm now in your body. Your breath slow, even, deep. Your mind calm, drifting. The historical life we follow is patient. It holds quiet comfort in every repetition. Let yourself sink deeper. The story continues. More soft dawns, more peaceful evenings, more small moments of warmth. For now, rest. You are safe. You are warm. Sleep is gentle, waiting patiently. The night holds you in its deepest, softest embrace now. Your breathing has become a slow, endless tide. Each gentle inhale filling you with pure calm. Each long exhale dissolving every last whisper of thought. Feel how utterly your body has surrendered. Your toes are warm, distant, perfectly relaxed. Your feet heavy, sinking into the sheets. Your ankles loose and open. Your calves soft as warm silk. Your knees relaxed, slightly bent or straight, however they rest. Your thighs melt downward completely. Your hips settle fully into the mattress. Your lower back flattens without effort. Your upper back spreads wide and calm. Your shoulders drop far away. Your arms lie still, weightless. Your hands rest open, fingers soft and uncurled. Your neck is long, easy. Your jaw hangs gently. Your tongue rests quietly. Your cheeks smooth. Your forehead clear. Your eyes sealed beneath heavy, peaceful lids. You are floating in complete safety. Warmth surrounds you like a quiet blanket. Nothing disturbs this stillness. Nothing needs to disturb it. Only this deep, gentle peace. We drift back once more to the same quiet room in that Victorian-era city. The hour is early again. The sky outside the window has shifted from black to the softest charcoal gray, with the very first pale silver light touching the horizon. A faint mist clings to the glass, softening the view into gentle shapes. Inside, the air is cool and still, holding the faint, comforting scent of yesterday's embers and the last trace of bread. The stove's fire has rested beneath its ash. Small red, glows still breathing slowly, patiently, ready to be gently awakened. The mother wakes in her calm, unhurried way. She lies still for several long moments beneath the blanket. Her eyes open slowly to the familiar dimness. She listens to the soft, even breathing of her children. Small chests rising and falling in perfect, peaceful rhythm. One child makes a tiny sound in sleep, a soft sigh that fades like morning dew. She lets the sound settle her heart. Then, gradually, she moves. Blankets eased aside with care, feet placed on the floorboards. The wood is cool beneath her soles, but the touch is known, steadying. She stands without haste. Her spine straightens in a slow, natural line. Arms rise overhead in a gentle stretch that flows from fingertips, through her shoulders, down her back. Shoulders roll once, softly. Then calm returns. She crosses the room in quiet steps. The kettle is lifted from its place, carried to the water jug near the door. The jug tilted slowly. Water pours in a steady, clear stream, filling without a single drop lost. The kettle is returned to the stove. She kneels before the fire door, opens it gently. Embers glow back. Small, steady pulses of red in the darkness. She selects kindling, thin, dry twigs from the basket, arranges them loosely over the glowing coals. Then coal, small lumps placed one by one, nestling carefully so they settle without rolling. A match is struck. The flame blooms briefly, golden and bright. It touches the kindling. A soft crackle begins. Tiny pops, gentle hisses, then a steadier murmur as the fire takes hold. Warmth spreads outward slowly, first warming her hands, then her face, then drifting across the room in patient, comforting circles. While the fire grows, she turns to the bread. The loaf waits beneath its clean cloth on the shelf. She folds the cloth back carefully. The bread has rested through the night, its crust slightly firmer, the crumb still soft inside. She carries it to the hearth, holds it near the flames, turning it every few moments with steady hands. The heat brushes the surface gently. The crust warms, softens. A delicate, toasty fragrance rises. Grain and yeast warmed by fire, one of the simplest comforts. She brings the loaf back to the table, takes the worn knife, holds the bread steady, slices in long, even strokes. Each piece separates cleanly. The inside shows its pale, even texture. Small air pockets from the slow rise. Crumbs fall lightly. She gathers them with careful fingers, places them in a small dish. Nothing is lost. Everything has its place. The children wake as the scents drift through the room. The youngest first. Eyes fluttering open, small hands rubbing sleep away. A quiet yawn escapes, soft and slow. Another child stirs, rolling onto their back, stretching arms above their head beneath the blanket. They sit up gradually. No rush, no words yet. Blankets folded with small hands. Corners brought together, edges smoothed. Pillows plumped lightly, then placed neatly. Clothes reached for. Shirts slipped on. Buttons fastened one by one. Trousers tied. Stockings rolled up without haste. They gather at the table as the kettle begins its gentle song. A low hum at first, then bubbling, then the soft rise to a quiet whistle. The mother lifts the kettle with the folded cloth, pours the hot water into the teapot in a thin, careful stream. Leaves inside swirl briefly, then settle. Steam curls upward in delicate spirals. She covers the pot, places the cozy over it to hold the warmth, waits patiently. The minutes drift by like slow breaths. No hurry, only the fire's soft crackle and the distant, faint stirrings of the city below. When the tea has steeped, she stirs once. Slow circles blending everything. Then pours. The tea is pale amber, warm in the cups. Milk added where any is left. A careful drop that swirls, clouds softly, then blends. Cups placed before each person. Bread slices passed gently hand to hand. Each takes what they need. They eat slowly, bites measured. Chews calm and thorough. The warmed bread offers a slight crispness at the edges, softness within. It tastes of simple grain, of fire, of care. The tea sipped in tiny amounts. Warmth traveling inward, spreading through the chest, down the arms, into fingers and toes. A quiet, spreading comfort. Breakfast ends gently. Crumbs swept into palms, tipped into the fire where they flare briefly, then disappear. Cups carried to the basin, rinsed with the last warm water, dried with the soft cloth, returned to the shelf in their quiet row. The fire tended. Another small piece of coal if needed, or left to burn low and steady. The mother begins her morning tasks, perhaps laundry today. Small items gathered from the day before. She fills the basin with cold water from the jug. A small piece of soap is rubbed between her hands until a thin lather forms. The fabric is soaked, then rubbed gently against the washboard. Up and down, up and down. The motion is steady, rhythmic, almost meditative. Suds form slowly. The water turns gray with dirt. She wrings each piece carefully, twisting with patient hands. Water drips back into the basin in slow drops. Rinsing follows. Clean water poured over the fabric. She swirls it gently. More rinsing until the water runs clear. Then wringing again. The clothes are hung on the line, strung across the room near the window. Sunlight will dry them slowly during the day. If the weather is damp, they hang closer to the fire, turned occasionally so they dry evenly. The scent of wet wool and soap lingers. Clean, simple, honest. While the laundry dries, she might pause to mend a small tear in a shirt. Needle threaded. Thimble on. She sits by the window. The light has grown. Pale gold now, slanting across the sill, warming the floorboards in slow patches. She begins, needle in. Thread pulled through. Small, even stitches close the tear gradually. The motion repeats. Up, down, up, down. The sound is faint, soothing. She works without haste, each stitch placed with care. When finished, she ties a knot, snips the thread, smooths the fabric. The shirt is whole again. If no mending is needed, she tends the vegetables instead. Potatoes scrubbed, cut into chunks, cabbage chopped, onions peeled, all into the pot. Water poured slowly, salt pinched in. The pot set on the stove. Simmering begins. Bubbles rising lazily, breaking with faint, peaceful sounds. Steam curls upward, carrying the mild, earthy fragrance that fills the room gradually, layer by layer. While the pot works, she might look out the window. The street below moves in its gentle way. Footsteps on cobblestones, a cart rolling slowly. Children running small errands. A bird singing briefly from a rooftop. Small sounds, familiar sounds, comforting in their constancy. The family gathers when they can. Bowls filled from the pot. Steam rising in warm clouds. Spoons dipping slowly. Potato tender, cabbage mild, onion adding gentle depth. Bread torn, dipped, savored. Words few, smiles quiet. Clearing follows. Bowls rinsed. Pot cleaned. Everything returned to its place. Afternoon light shifts. Brighter at first, then golden, then softer amber. Shadows stretch across the floorboards like slow rivers.